concerns.
Were we gonna talk as a group about the new FTE
For the registry,
for registry and PI? Were we gonna take that as a group and try to come up with some?
Yes, I believe, at the education committee is
Yeah.
working on doing a detailed dive into the gray book. And so Ann will have some updates at the big meeting.
anything else out there, you guys, about the gray book? It sounds like those, I know there'll be webinars and education coming, and then if you have any questions as we move forward, we can all try to help as we move through the, I like how the book is written.
It's much better.
It's
The orange
much
book was a
better.
nightmare.
Definitely more concise. But it seems to be a little, like some more things were answered this time, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess we'll figure that out.
I think it's good that they give you actual examples of how you meet.
Yes,
certain criteria.
I agree with that.
So I'm kind of using that for my upcoming survey to kind of benchmark.
Oh, good. That's a great idea. Yeah. So I added a few things just on a personal level. I just wanted to see if you guys, I know that everybody's having staffing issues, but I just wanted to ask from a level 3 trauma center level. One thing that is reared their head for me that I kind of wasn't expecting, it sort of started happening in January and then it's escalated for me the last 6 months, is I have plenty of blood. I have a lot of blood, I'm very blessed with the amount of blood I have at Westchester, but I am short blood bankers. So we're in almost like critical staffing, and we were actually talking about possibly even have to go on diversion, which sounds like crazy for me that I have blood sitting down there, but I don't have anyone to get it, in the cooler and upstairs and everything. So I was looking for, are you guys having that issue? Do you have any creative ways to address that? And I know that blood bank, some of the research I did, blood bank staff, there used to be a lot of those programs. There's not as many across the whole country as there used to be. And a lot of people have retired. And then people who are doing that, lost of course my computer's shutting down. If they do that degree and work there, then of course they're going to the centers that are, highest money, and they've been asking for, and they've been getting bonuses, which I personally can't blame people for that. I kind of understand that, but I just kind of wanted to open it up to the group and see if anybody else is having issues with the actual personnel, not actually the blood, but actual personnel.
Yeah, we are, especially at night.
Yeah.
So that's when most of our MTPs are
Correct.
typically. So we have to send a staff member down to get the blood, which we don't always have the resources. So you're pulling somebody from the trauma who's trying to help to go just run and get blood.
Yeah, I'm talking like I've never been I've always had to send somebody. So like I might actually not, there might not be a blood banker.
In our region, there was, in the midst of the actual shortage, it was compounded because they were in contract negotiations, the people that collect and process and distribute the blood, and they finally settled that contract, but they're still up against, at that level, personnel who can, because there was some talk even about like recruiting nurses to help, and they're
Yes.
like, oh, no, this is a very specialized job that you can't just like plug somebody in there. So at a regional level for Akron, I know that was an issue at our hospital. I'm not even gonna say it.
I get it. Anybody else? No. Anybody out in the virtual world? Like we've always had enough. We have enough blood products to do 2 MTPs at the same time. So we've been blessed at Westchester. But it's going to be challenging to do 2 MTPs at the same time, depending on what the staffing is in the blood bank. Now, I had an idea yesterday that if I'm of course I'm using uncross-matched blood, I just would divide that cooler up. No, I don't know anybody else, you know, like I'm not, if I have two people, you know, right, like I have 8 and 8, I'm not gonna.
Right.
So, I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts or ideas. And honestly, for me, I think trauma will be fine. You know, we're pretty good at figuring all that out and being really resourceful, but it is a little concerning for other services in the hospital that maybe aren't as used to doing those things, so.
So you don't have a blood, do you have a blood refrigerator in ED?
Yeah,
And then you have enough product in there to pull from if you don't have blood bankers?
so we're gonna have, we'll have enough to do one cooler, but if we don't have, so if we got to the point where we're red and we didn't have a blood banker, they're just talking, you know, maybe if we've had to go on diversion or something. But I'm still advocating for like, let's keep a cooler stacked where it's just like somebody can get the cooler. Because we did increase our liquid plasma. We were only having like 4 in the hospital, so now I have 6 and 6. I have 8 and 8 ready to go.
You can't give her patients that are there.
I know, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is like, I know, it's like crazy talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wonder, like, has anybody come up with something besides, you know, like all the things you're saying, keeping it cooler, dividing the, you know. So, just challenges that, like, I never thought about personnel for those. I always worried I had enough blood, now we have enough blood, but those kind of personnel, people are have really, at least in our area, have really reared their head in the UC system, like, pharmacy, lab techs. There are many days that the labs, you know, the nurses are drawing all the labs. Recently, IR, we don't do a lot of trauma IR stuff, but just IR general. There's some days where you can't get IR at all because there's no radiology techs for that.
I think that's gonna be, the workforce challenges
I agree.
are gonna be our nightmare for a long while.
Let alone, I'm not even talking about nursing staff. I'm just talking about now operations staff, so. So you guys.
Something like that being so specialized is even, I would say, even more challenging than nursing. It's not like they have a nursing
Well, that's-
agency for blood bankers, you know?
I agree, that's what I'm saying, I was worried about, you know, the OR nursing and the ED, but this very specialized is really kind of shown its head well, it really started for me in January and February. It really
So
does.
where did they go? They went to like a regional?
They went to a different health system for more money, or really can't blame people. I probably shouldn't say that, this state group, but I mean, you know.
So is your system
They're
working
working on
on
it.
compensation?
They're working on it, but it's, I don't know, it's a slow process sometimes with compensation. I don't know. And it's at a very high level, so mostly I wanted to know if you guys had any like, clever ideas that you have been working on. Anybody out there? Any other really bad staffing challenges? What about you guys, level 3s, getting your trauma patient to the OR? Are you competing with like not having is your call staff, your staff that's still operating on the scheduled surgery? Anybody come against that yet?
Our level threes are doing okay with that. I mean, if we have our one OR team there, we have to transfer to the main campus, but,
Okay.
Yeah. But
That's your backup,
That's our backup. Yeah, we don't have 2 OR on calls. So,
right?
yeah.
Okay. We used to have a team that stayed later, and then there was an on-call team, but now the on-call team is really the later team into the evening. So
Yeah, some of the center schools do the later call,
Yeah.
early and late start shift, but, we haven't had to at the same time
Okay.
in a while,
okay.
so.
Well, my computer died for some reason, because why wouldn't it? Did I have anything else on there?
I don't have your agenda.
Okay. I don't know why it shut down, but sorry. Oh, I think I said,
Contract guy for CT?
oh yeah, this is like Jenny's questions personally. I'm wondering how you guys are working. You guys have CT, IV contrast?
We did, so, but we do have it now.
Okay.
We're impacted by the shortage.
Okay.
Put some contingency plans in place, and I think we recently got an email saying that we're going back to business as usual.
Okay. Do you know who your supplier is?
I can look for it.
Is it GE?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can inquire. Is GE yours?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so it's all made out of Shanghai? Okay, so, anybody else out there struggling with contrast dye?
Yeah, I think we had a different supplier. We didn't have the same supplier, so
Okay.
we're okay for the moment, but it has been an issue across the board.
Okay,
Yeah, they don't tell us who our supplier is.
Okay.
We get a message saying that,
well, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that, but okay.
yeah.
And then I think the other thing I had on there is, I know we're gonna discuss the new ACS or the field triage guidelines, but I was wondering from a level 3 standpoint, have you guys looked at those and what your thoughts were?
I looked at them, but I don't remember what my thoughts were.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Because it just came out, but just keep that on the agenda as we move forward this year. I was a little concerned, but I don't know what,
Yeah.
what, I think it's gonna be interpretation, like everything else. But I don't see how the level 1 can take some more of those patients. Like, they can't take all of our, like, they don't have room for these patients.
Yeah.
You guys agree? Like, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I've looked at
I think they added the word, some of the wording is similar to the previous guidelines,
Uh-huh.
but with a couple differences. The one thing for me was that they added the regional to the trauma system, because it used to just say trauma system. Now
Correct.
it says regional trauma
Correct.
system, which we obviously have had challenges with figuring out. We don't have set regions per se.
Correct.
And just because you're a part of a regional trauma system does not mean that it's in your catchment area for transporting patients. Because I know COTS has centers that are far beyond, the catchment area of Columbus. So I don't know with them adding that term, if that, again, is up to interpretation and how the state is going to interpret it for the state criteria, and how the individual EMS agencies are going to interpret it. But that was the big thing that I noticed, just as a really quick.
Do other states set that? Are we different in Ohio? Do other states
Not sure.
like they do for disaster,
So,
different
yeah, I
regions together?
think the states do it. I think others, this is just my personal opinion now. I feel like other states do it better and have a much more robust disaster, trauma, mass casualty system. And maybe I just don't understand all of Ohio, to be honest with you. But when I read, for instance, like Texas seems to really, when you read all their stuff, Dr. Stewart, everybody, it appears to be, as from an outsider, that they really have quite the robust disaster situation, and something they've worked on for many, many, many years when you read their history. And I feel like there's a few other states. So I don't feel like my particular region, I don't know if I know what that is. Like I kind of know. I mean, I know what my hospital stuff is. I know what my personal stuff is, but like, I'm always worried, like, are we gonna be the last people to know? Like, I don't know.
Right.
So I do feel like there's definitely some improvement to be made and some better communication. I think we found that out for those of you guys who weren't here, but remember when we did that burn exercise, that's been several years ago, that proved right away that we were in trouble. Yeah, like we would be in trouble as a state. And even it wouldn't take much, even if with the level 3s, take the burn patients, which we of course would do that. But you could see where we would be upside down pretty quick if we had a big issue.
And how much of that is tied to better funding? I wonder
Right.
if you look
Yeah.
at Michigan,
Right.
states that have a better
Sure.
structure
Right.
have funding.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't comment on all I know since I had this job, we talked about the state trauma bill, and then that didn't quite, work out for all kinds of reasons, I guess. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion when I read other states. That's why I think somewhat some of the little stuff that we do in these committees, I feel like it really could help other centers. Because I do believe that, you know, these patients, I think it's proven over and over, they do go to these small hospitals, right? And the Texas, I mean, that's a small hospital, and they took those patients. Like, took a while for them to probably get this other support that they needed. So, I mean, I understand there, you know, there wasn't as many patients as everybody had hoped for, but, so. Any other comments out there? I mean, for instance, I feel like just in our Butler County, like Renee and myself and Claire, and we all should know what each other's doing, because those patients would, you know, we could easily need each other's support to get through some kind, and it doesn't take a zillion patients. It, you know, it could maybe be 10. It doesn't have to be like, you know, tons and tons of patients.
Well, if
Renee?
you put it on top of the current
Correct, on
volumes
top
that
of
we're all
what,
seeing,
right,
it
exactly,
doesn't take much to break the system.
correct. So hopefully we would all get looped in and, you know, work together to figure all that out, so. I think that's all that I put on the agenda, but I want to do roundtable and discussions. Does someone have their hand up? Am I missing that? Or no?
Looks like it's something in the chat.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
let me see if there's anything new. Then y'all have put something in the chat.
I think she said she emailed.
No, there's not anything new.
Are those really people out there, or are they just decoration?
Are you guys out there? Are you doing PI?
I got it. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys getting ahead of us in the room with your PI or whatever? Yeah, the registry. Answering those emails you never can get to.
Submitting data.
Right. I understand. Well, if we don't have anything else, then we can, I think our next thing is 10:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We can all take a bathroom break, and we'll follow up with Diane and our notes. So our next meeting will be August, is that correct? August?
Yes,
Yeah.
August, and it'll be virtual.
Okay, so let's look at that date, because I don't know what that is. So August 5th, I think that's correct.
I know, I don't know if Sarah, I know you had a question about, you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
You wanna-
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So we currently have neurosurgery, but we only have one neurosurgeon. And I had a meeting yesterday with our trauma medical director, and he was asking me if he wanted to implement a backup, you know, just in case. And I just didn't know if anyone had any other written protocols or wanted to share any of those with us. I completely forgot to. Oh, Itzy said we have some. I completely forgot to talk to Itzy about it because she was remote yesterday.
So you guys, do you do surgeries there? Like
Yeah.
emergent cranies?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna, like, I don't do cranies, so all my neurosurgery patients get admitted to trauma. All the
Okay.
heads I keep get admitted to trauma service, but we don't on purpose do emergent cranies.
I see.
So I do have neurosurgery on call.
Okay.
We stick very strict to our, the big criteria guidelines. But if you only have one neurosurgeon and you're
You're
doing,
talking about one neurosurgeon on call at a time, or only one neurosurgeon?
Only one neurosurgeon.
only one to staff 24/7 every day.
Correct.
I think that's a stretch.
That's a stretch. You're gonna have to have somebody else. Or you're gonna have to, your backup to be transfer. Your backup plan is transfer.
Sarah. He was saying he doesn't take call 24/7. I mean, obviously, of course. And our backup is to ship them, but he wanted.
And that's not really neurosurgery.
Then you're.
That's not really, That's not really neurosurgery then. To have to have that, you need to have 24/7 coverage.
You're creating a PI nightmare.
You're creating yourself a big PI nightmare.
I'm not worried about it.
It's so that we have a whole backup and everything. That's my bad for not talking to her about that.
Okay,
So,
okay.
sorry,
All
they're
right.
fine.
All right, guys, take a break.
Yep, we will, be back at 10:30 to get started with the main meeting.